So today we're gonna be reacting to Zack films. So let's get started. Right. Let's just start with this one.
The ship crashed between two icebergs, throwing the man into a sheet of ice. And he watched as polar bears fed on his crewmates. When one attacked him, he managed to kill it with his knife, but he suddenly realized it had a baby. Out of pity, he raised her as his own, teaching her to fish for him. She even protected him by fighting off other bears, and they lived this way for the next 6 years. Eventually, the man was rescued, but the bear who saved his life was left behind. The ship crashed between two.
Did you know AI phone calls is a thing?
He has a long time.
He shaved the head, then began to tattoo a message directly onto his servant's scalp. After that, he rubbed a special paint into the wounds to color it. He then waited until his hair grew out completely, covering the tattoo. The servant was then sent to his allies, who shaved his head again, revealing the hidden message about the plans to rebel. He shaved the head, then began to tattoo a. If you sink your teeth into a block of ice and get them really cold, and then you take a sip of hot coffee, could your teeth crack from the heat? Well, your teeth are made of hard outer enamel, built to handle changes in temperature. For it to crack, the cold teeth would have to rapidly be heated up to 700 degrees Fahrenheit. And coffee just isn't that hot. But if your teeth already have chips or hidden cracks, that heat could actually split them wide open. If you sink your teeth into a block of ice,
I would not want it cracked, y'all.
if an anteater stuck its tongue through your mouth and into your stomach, could it remove the food you ate with its tongue? Well, their tongues can reach up to 2 feet, which is technically long enough to get to your stomach, but it would have to get past some tough twists and barriers inside the body first. After that, as it scraped for food, its quick flicking motion could tear up the delicate tissues inside. And when it pulled back its tongue to eat, it would drag up stomach acid with it, burning your throat and possibly drowning you in your own blood. If an anteater stuck its tongue, he pressed the controls super fast and beat the same game for the 100th time. Now, he really wanted the new game.
Porn and scrolling.
If you buckle a child into a car seat while they're still wearing a thick, puffy jacket, the straps sit on top of all of that padding, and it looks tight and secure, but in a crash, that jacket flattens instantly, turning that hidden padding into extra space the harness can't control. And with all that sudden slack, they can jolt forward far enough for the straps to slip off their shoulders, letting their upper body fly forward with nothing to stop it. So instead of a puffy jacket, use thin layers and buckle the child in first, then put the coat on backwards over the straps, allowing the harness to stay tight against the body and hold the child safely in place during a crash. If you She poured concrete straight into the storm pipe at the edge of her yard, and the wet cement hardened inside, sealing the pipe so water couldn't flow through. You see, that pipe was part of the neighborhood's draining system, carrying rainwater underground to a nearby pond where it could collect. But the woman claimed that the drain was eating away at her yard and causing sinkholes. Once the pipe was sealed, the water had nowhere to go. Eventually, it pooled on the street, flooding her neighbors' yards and sidewalks. And the puddles became a breeding ground for huge swarms of mosquitoes. Officials ruled that she caused the problem, ordering her to fix it or be fined $300 for each day it remained blocked. She poured concrete straight into the storm pipe at the edge of
It's bad.
these dodgy. As he drove, the car's AI scanned his face and flashed red, warning him to wake up. He was confused because he wasn't sleeping and tried sitting up straighter to look less tired. but nothing worked until he forced his eyes to open super wide. When he let them go back to normal, the alarm rang again, going off 20 times during the trip. You see, the AI was designed to beep whenever it couldn't see the iris. But the man naturally had heavy eye folds, which are when the eyelid's skin and fat overlap near the nose, forming a smooth flap that covers part of his iris, making the AI think he was sleeping. As he they pulled a live eel out of the man's belly. You see, the man had come in complaining of severe pain, and when doctors pushed on his abdomen, it was rock hard. When they stuck a camera inside, they saw the eel, and it was moving. Now, some say this was part of some strange folk cure, but he never said how it actually got in there. They pulled a live eel out of the man's belly.
Why is everyone...
He wrote, "I am awake" in his journal, and just a few seconds later, he wrote it again. Each time he felt like he was waking up for the very first time. You see, when he was in his 40s, a virus had attacked the part of his brain that saves facts and memories, causing his mind to reset every 5 to 30 seconds. He could still pour a cup of coffee, but he would forget it was sitting right in front of him. When he met a new person, he would greet them again just a few seconds later, as if it was for the first time. Now, he could still sit down at a piano and play beautifully. That's because he still remembered all the skills he learned before he got sick. And the virus didn't damage his emotional memory, so every time his wife walked into the room, he hugged her with tears, because to him, it always felt like they had been apart for years. He wrote, "I am awake" in his journal, and just a few seconds later, he wrote it again. Each time he felt like he was waking up for the very first time. He got into the shell, and the dome was locked in place. As he turned the head, R2-D2 did the same, but turning too far choked him with wires, so he had to be careful with his movements. They swapped in a smaller remote-controlled robot for scenes where R2 rolled in the swamps, while puppeteers used hidden wires to yank it around for complicated scenes, creating the illusion of a robot that's alive. He got into the shell, and the dome was locked in place. As he turned the head,
"This is the best steel brain rot spawner, which allowed me to spawn over one..."
he sank his teeth into the snake and bit it twice. And he did this immediately after the snake had bit him. You see, locals believe that biting snakes actually returns the venom, pulling it out of your bloodstream and giving it back to the creature. And this snake did die on the spot. The man was... He would bite down on a metal rod attached to his piano while he played. The vibrations from the piano traveled through the rod, into his jawbone, and reached his inner ear. This technique would send sound vibrations directly to the skull, completely skipping the eardrum, allowing him to hear. And by using this method, Beethoven was able to compose music, even when he was deaf. He would bite down on a metal rod attached to his piano.
"This will make new hair grow where you don't have hair."
She thought it was a runny nose, but the clear liquid was not mucus. You see, 2 years earlier, she got into a car crash, hitting her head on the dashboard. This broke the thin bone between her brain and her sinuses, and the fluid filling her skull started to leak out, which she thought was just a runny nose. Soon, she was losing 2 cups of fluid a day, until doctors finally found the hole. They took fat from her belly and plugged it, finally allowing her to live normally. She thought it was a runny nose. They gave a baby a rat to play with, but then struck a steel bar behind him, making him cry. They did it again, and every time the rat appeared, the noise followed. You see, the scientists were training the baby's brain to connect the rat with the loud, scary sound. And after a while, just seeing the rat made him cry. This also caused him to fear other white objects and things with fur. This showed the researchers that fear could be taught, but the baby left the hospital before their study was finished, meaning they never got the chance to undo the fear they had created. They gave a baby a rat to play with, but then struck a steel bar behind him, making him cry. They did it again, and every time the rat appeared, the noise followed. You see, the scientists were training the baby's brain to connect the rat with the loud, scary sound. And after a while, just seeing the rat made him cry. This also caused him to fear other white objects and things with fur. This showed the researchers that She scribbled on an egg, then pushed it right back inside the chicken. A few hours later, the hen laid the same egg again. With the words, "Christ is coming," she claimed to have powers, saying her chicken had been blessed. People came from miles away to see it, paying her coins just to watch the holy bird. Now, she wrote on every egg herself and sold fake potions to anyone who believed her, until one killed a woman and she was hanged for murder. But people still wanted her power, so they bought pieces of her skin as charms to keep evil away. She scribbled on an if you place a hex nut in a balloon, blow it up, and spin it around inside. As it rolls along the inflated surface, each ridge on the nut hits the latex. This makes a thumping noise, but since the hex nut is moving incredibly fast, it sounds like a high-pitched whir. Now, if you use a bigger nut, it tends to move slower, which changes the sound to a lower pitch. And each time the hex nut gets bigger and slows down, the sound gets lower. But if the nut is too heavy, it will start to stretch the latex until it bursts through, popping the balloon and sending the metal flying. If you place a hex nut in a
How much money do you really save by negotiating?
They held the goldfish over the tank before dropping it in as food. But instead of being eaten, it managed to escape, slipping into a drainage pipe. It swam until it reached a filtration tank, and even though it was pitch black inside, the fish was finally safe. It survived by eating scraps of food that passed through the filter, and for the next 7 years, it lived there alone. When workers finally opened the tank to clean it, they found the goldfish, which had grown to be 10 inches long. And to honor it, they gave it a real tank, where aquarium visitors could visit the fish who escaped death. They held the goldfish over the tank before dropping it in as food, but instead of being eaten, it managed to escape. Inside the bullet, a layer of soft metal is wrapped around a tiny, super hard steel spike. And when it hits the bulletproof vest, the soft metal flattens and peels away, leaving the steel spike intact, meaning all its energy focuses on the very tip of the core. The vest's woven fibers spread the impact across the weave, but the spike slips between them, and the point drives through the fiber.
Tired of boring room design?
She fell into a dumpster while taking out the trash, and a garbage truck emptied it and started compacting. It crushed the garbage and her 4 times, until he finally saw something moving on his truck cam. He turned off the truck and the compactor stopped, which is when the neighbors heard the woman's screams. Rescuers rushed in to help her. They used a crane basket to lift her out, and despite serious injuries, she did survive. She fell into a dumpster while
Must be very.
The headsets were strapped onto the cow, showing them a green field. And when it was milked, it produced more than usual. So some people think the VR image worked by improving the cow's mood. But the headsets are actually designed for humans, showing the same image from slightly different angles, one for each eye. And since the cow's eyes are much further apart, 2 separate headsets would show 4 images in total, creating total confusion for the cow. And the boost in milk? Well, that probably just came from the headset's light, not the virtual view. The headsets were strapped onto the cow, showing them a green field.
Love Roblox? Earn Roblox digital gift cards with Microsoft Rewards. Sign up for Microsoft Rewards and earn points for your everyday activities when you search on Bing, play on Xbox, and use other Microsoft products. Get started today.
Later.
As John Wayne was filming his movie, the set was right downwind from a nuclear test site, and the wind carried radioactive dust onto the movie's cast and crew. Now, the government insisted there was no danger, and the film crew trusted them. But years later, over 90 of them got cancer, and 46 of them passed away from the disease, including John Wayne, who was killed by stomach cancer 20 years after shooting the film. Now, the government finally admitted they might be responsible, but it's impossible to know where exactly the cancer came from, so nobody knows for sure. As John Wayne was filming the bug shoots out a sticky goo, which is scraped off the tree and washed in a giant pot. Next, it's laid out on the ground to dry before getting stuffed into a long sock over a hot furnace. And as it rotates, the dried goo melts, dripping onto the tray below. It's then sprayed into an even layer and stretched by a worker using their hands and feet until it's nearly transparent. Finally, it's cut into small pieces, shipped to factories around the world, and mixed into candy to make it shiny. So when you bite into a jelly bean, you're basically eating bug goop. The bug shoots out a sticky goo, which is scraped off the tree and washed in a giant pot. Next, it's laid out on the ground to dry before getting stuffed into a long sock over a hot furnace. And as it rotates, the dried goo...
Does your man meat stink? Our brand...
She poured concrete straight into the storm pipe. The cable snapped and fell on her face. And even though people screamed, the ride operator did nothing. The girl pushed the cable off her, but part of it had become wrapped around her legs. Suddenly, the ride dropped, pulling the cable tight. It sliced right through her, cutting off her feet. And they dropped to the ground below, where a crowd gathered to watch. Now, doctors were able to reattach one of her feet, but the other was too damaged. The cable snapped and fell on her face, and even
You pick from premium blanks.
they built up 26 stories, stuffing each floor full of pigs. Inside, food is funneled through pipes into feeding spots that can be opened with the push of a button. And giant tanks turn their poop into gas, which actually helps power the building. Trucks deliver hundreds of pigs inside, which are then moved up in elevators to different levels. And when they get big enough, the pigs are shuffled to another building to be killed and butchered before they're shipped out to be cooked at restaurants all over the country. They built up 26 stories, stuffing each... He shoved his arm down the bear's throat, and as it slid down, the bear gagged before letting go of the man and running away. You see, when the man was out hunting, he accidentally woke up this sleeping bear. It pinned him down to the ground, and as he tried to fight back, he remembered his grandma told him that big animals have strong gag reflexes. So when it tried to bite him, he just jammed his fist straight down its throat, which ended up saving his life. He shoved his arm down.
He must love his grandma's.
When the dial is turned, a stone disc starts spinning, which you can use to sharpen your knife. At the same time, it turns a fan inside. And when you attach a bag and a hose, it turns into a vacuum cleaner. On the other end, a notch next to the sharpening disc is designed to hold a belt, which could power a table saw, meaning you could cut wood, vacuum your house, and sharpen your knives all at the same time. When the dial is turned, he wrote, "I am awake."
Games went downhill when they got rid of cheat.
If you get it just right,
Just do it in case.
he wrote, "I am awake" in his journal, and just a few seconds later, he wrote it again. Each time he felt like he was waking up for the very first time. You see, when he was in his 40s, a virus had attacked the part of his brain that saves facts and memories, causing his mind to reset every 5 to 30 seconds. He could still pour a cup of coffee, but he would forget it was sitting right in front of him. When he met a new person, he would greet them again just a few seconds later, as if it was for the first time. Now, he could still sit down at a piano and play beautifully. That's because he still remembered all the skills he learned before he got sick. And the virus didn't damage his emotional memory, so every time his wife walked into the room,
Games went.
if you get it just right, it'll pull on the bolt slightly. Next, use a pick to lift each of the levers inside until you feel one slip into place. Now, if you do this for each of the levers on a normal lock, you'll push all of them into the right position, allowing the bolt to slide open. But this particular lock has an extra piece of metal, meaning if you push one of the levers too far, it locks everything in place. And even the real key can't open it. This tells the owner that someone was trying to break in. Instead, they have to turn the key the wrong way to release the metal bar before they can open the lock. If you get it just right, he shaved the head, then began.
This is gonna blow.
He applied to be a manager at the sewage company after working there for 2 years. But instead of thanking him for his hard work, they just rejected him. So he ripped the equipment from the office and shoved it into his car. He drove to nearly 50 different sewage pumps as he hacked the systems he once built. This sent massive floods of poop into the nearby rivers, turning the water black and killing all the fish. It took days to clean up the mess, but he was eventually caught and sent to prison. He applied to be a manager. As you grab the statue and pull, it would stretch like a slinky for dozens of feet. And this is because these sculptures are made by taking a sheet of paper and painting on thin strips of glue through a metal grate. And when the next sheet is placed on top, the grate is shifted slightly, making an alternating glue pattern when it's put together. And this is repeated thousands of times until there's multiple stacks. Then squiggly shapes are cut out with a spinning blade and glued on top of each other to form a blocky head. Finally, it's shaved down and smoothed with sandpaper, giving a lifelike statue you can pull apart. Just try not to drop it. As you grab the statue and
Don't pay more for this.
she escaped her abusive boyfriend, taking her puppy with her to a hotel. But since she worked 12-hour days, the puppy got bored and chewed through the pipes. When the hotel manager found out, he told her to get rid of the puppy or they would both be kicked out. With no other option, she called an Uber to the vet, planning to get the dog put down. But when the driver found out, she called her husband, and they both agreed to adopt the puppy instead, saving his life and giving him the home he deserved. She escaped her abusive boyfriend, taking her puppy with her to a hotel. They gave a baby a rat to. The letter arrived just days after they bought the home, and at first it seemed to be a welcome to the neighborhood. But as the man kept reading, the hairs on his neck stood up. Do you know what lies inside the walls? The letter asked. It was signed by the Watcher, who claimed to to have observed the house for decades. And now this person was watching the new owners and their 3 children. Over the next few weeks, more letters arrived, telling the couple that if the children played in the basement, no one would hear them scream. It also said they would be watching the family through the windows. Despite security systems, police, and private detectives on the case, the watcher was never found. After 6 months of terror, the family finally put the house up for sale and left. The letter arrived just days after they bought the home, and at first it seemed to be a welcome.
Whatever. Okay. So that's the end, as you can see, loading. So out. Alright. Wait.